Hello everyone, thanks so much for being here with me today for your reading all about what is happening in this connection, what is going down, all the funky Flavor Town feelings. We're going to be looking at thoughts, feelings, next actions, as well as just an overview of what's going on in the connection. I have 3 piles to choose from for you here today, but that is all I have for you. Timestamps, of course, will be listed down below in the description, and I'll see you at your pile. Bye, y'all. Hello, Pile 1. Thanks so much for being here with me today for your reading all about how the person on your mind is thinking, feeling about you, and what is going on in this connection. I do need to apologize. My allergies are going crazy, so there might be a little sniffles. I'm going to try my best to cut it out, but alas, let's go ahead and get started. So I have 2 cards. One is supposed to be representing you and the other your person. Just kind of pick and choose which side you are. We're going to tackle both and both sides' feelings, so you'll understand. But I first want to start out with the person on the left. I'm going to call him the blonde man because that's what he's called. The blonde man right now is currently doing really well for themselves. They seem to have a good head on their shoulders. They seem to be skilled in business. Maybe I'm hearing like business school. That's just like something I'm picking up. They also, I should say, they don't have to be blonde and they also don't have to be a man. This is just the overall energy. They're in their emperor energy. Well, they're working towards emperor energy right now. This is very much like 8 of Pentacles vibes where they're focused on crafting something and refining things. This person is very dependable, very reliable. They mean what they say and they say what they mean. There's not a lot of beating around the bush. And I'm also hearing, actually, never mind. They could also have a position at work where they're working directly under someone they look up to. They're really enjoying their time right now. And they feel pretty secure in who they are and what's happening materially. As far as this connection, there seems to be a desire to be closer to you, like actually physically. So maybe you guys live at a distance or you've been apart from each other for a while. But let's talk about why. On the right, we have the death person, but it's in reverse. And something this card specifically talks about when it's reversed is the actual act of losing someone or losing materially. It seems like the death person is going through a rather unpleasant time. And it does feel a little bit out of their control. It's really difficult for the death person to get back on their feet at this moment. They might be isolating from people or isolating from this connection. They might be unwilling to focus on anything that doesn't involve like their actual survival. But I think this person is being led to a breakthrough because this is card 23. 2 plus 3 is 5, and 5 is the number of change and growth. Death in general, well, I'm hearing like it's inevitable, but it's also a transformation and a transition that erases the possibility of going backwards. This person is coming to terms with the fact that there is no changing what happened. They're digesting what happened more these days. But it feels like they're missing some puzzle piece in their healing journey. Either they can't consciously wrap their brain around something right now, and it's kind of causing a little bit of stagnancy or blockages, or like they're literally missing something, like they're missing information, important information that would help them. I'm interested to see what comes through with thoughts and feelings, because of course, if this is romantic, take it romantic, but if this could be anyone, is what I'm trying to say, and I'm trying not to strictly use romantic terms. I'm hearing, what is that Hilary Duff? I don't know my 2000s pop girl songs, but it's a brand new day, nothing standing in my way, forever as I am. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the song, but that's kind of what I'm hearing when it comes to the energy between you guys and the current state of the dynamic between you. We have waxing moon, and it says the energy is gaining momentum. I think if you don't have something scheduled now, this could be coming close, like soon in the future, an actual sit down conversation with this person. It feels like the blonde man is going to be approaching the death person in this dynamic. It's like it starts as like a casual, like let's go to lunch. Let's just get lunch. Let's not think about anything. Let's just go to lunch, which is interesting. I think what I'm picking up here, the blonde man is witnessing the death card, or the death person, change and transform in front of their eyes and become new, but also witnesses their struggles and can also see their tired eyes. And there's something inside of the blonde man that feels not even responsibility for the death person. See, I keep saying card. It's almost like whoever the death person is, they don't. The idea of what they're going through is separate from them. That's why I keep saying death card instead of the death person, because it's like they want to be known, I am this person, but I'm going through this experience. This is not defining me. I love that energy. That's a great mindset. I think if they don't have that mindset right now, they're shifting into that mindset. Anyway, the blonde man is feeling an undeniable pull that they need to be closer with the death person at this time. The blonde man sees the death person as so strong, as the blonde man maybe had an easier time with life in general. They've had maybe more opportunities. They could be Jupiter ruled, where things just come naturally easy to them. Obviously not all things, but life has been pretty good for the blonde man. And they see how much the death person has had to overcome and continues to overcome. And it's something really inspiring. The blonde man it looks like they're putting something in their vest, under their vest, but they're like touching their heart. I think the blonde man goes about their day and they'll randomly have moments where they literally feel the death person. And it's almost like they can't describe it. It's just something they know. It's a physical reaction their body has. And the only thing that keeps popping up is the death person. And that's quite romantic, if you ask me. If it's not romance and this is family, redefine it in your mind. The blonde man wants to do whatever they can to lighten the load for the death person. Whether that is brightening their day with a silly meme or a joke, or just checking in randomly and asking, how are you really doing, you know? They want to continue getting closer. They have a pull to get closer to the death person. And I do think this is spiritually led. I think the two people here have a tie for a reason. And something's meant to play out here. I'm also hearing, if you believe in like past lives and stuff, this could have been a past life connection, or you're here on this lifetime playing out an old story that couldn't exist in the past. Interesting. We'll see how that pops up, or if it pops up later. I want to talk about the death person and how they're experiencing the connection. At this time, I think the death person struggles to see the positives of themselves. They struggle to see, I'm hearing the ways they light up the hearts in other people, which just sounds like that's what the blonde man would say about the death person. The death person is in a state of insecurity, triggered by everything going on in their life. They feel unworthy sometimes of the attention and the love that the blonde man gives them. And it's almost like they brush it aside, or they try to, what's it called, like level it out. I don't know why I'm hearing level it out. Like the blonde man would give a compliment, like a genuine compliment to the death person. And because the death person is so insecure at this moment, they're like, oh, they're just like, the blonde man's just being kind. They're like this to everyone. They're just, that's just who they are, you know. It's nothing personal. It's not anything deep or anything. This is what they would say. This is what's going on in their mind currently. And maybe that's part of why this energy is gaining momentum. Like, we're gaining momentum to a breakthrough in this connection, where each other can actually see how they see each other and what they feel. I love that. The death person feels inferior to the blonde man at times. I'm hearing sometimes they feel dumb, or they feel like they can't express themselves the way they want to. Because I just want to hype up. If you are the death person, and please don't brush this aside, if you are the death person, you must know that you're really, 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 really cool. Really, really, really intelligent. And really, really, really powerful. That's a lot of reallys, but it's true. And if you're the blonde man hearing this message and you're like, yeah, I freaking know, that's what I've been trying to get them to see about themselves. The death person truly does not realize the impact they have on other people's lives. Ooh, and now I'm getting emotional. Wow, that was powerful. Holy shit, sorry, I just got hit with a lot there. It's almost like the death person has been around a lot of people who have taken self-love to an arrogant extreme. Like, maybe they grew up in a family that was just full of people with narcissistic tendencies, or people who thought very, very highly of themselves, but didn't really deliver on the things that they prided themselves on. It feels like a lot of broken promises here for the death person. They've learned not to trust others, and they've learned that it's better to be harder on yourself than to make every excuse under the sun for yourself, because I think that's what the death person has been exposed to most of their lives. It's almost like this person is so scared of becoming like someone they were around a lot growing up that they now have a skewed view of confidence versus arrogance and ego. I don't know, I keep kind of just explaining the death person. So maybe a lot of you here are the blonde man. It's like the death person wants you to have the whole picture, and this is where their overthinking tendencies happen. They're like, okay, but what if I'm manipulating them and the blonde man loves me, right? But they don't know every single thing that I've ever done ever. So like they don't know the real me. I have to make sure like they know all about me, because if they knew everything, then maybe they wouldn't love me. But the blonde man can't not love the death person. There is a breakthrough happening. I don't think the death person is as aware of the breakthrough or what's happening. I think they're really pulled in every which direction, but whether they realize it or not, they are taking steps that lead them to this breakthrough, especially in this connection, which in turn I think will result in a self-esteem boost and healing energy. We'll definitely have to explore what is happening soon. I want to move on to our other last two oracles. I have what is a block in this connection and what is a blessing in this connection. Our block is kind of a main theme here. We have isolation. This is where if you're at a distance, this could be a factor, or it's just the fact that the death person isolates themselves from the blonde man. The things that harm this connection the most is the outright refusal to connect. So that means maybe it's dodging calls or purposely avoiding each other, avoiding advances to deepen the connection, keeping things very surface level, very like almost like business casual, like your coworkers and not friends or family or lovers. I'm hearing also this message of, it's like this scene I'm seeing of a single lantern in the middle of a dark void, just the complete abyss, and their oil is starting to run low and lower and lower, but they're still searching for oil. They're trying their hardest to do everything on their own, but they're getting tired and tired. And it's like this blonde man or this other lantern is trailing behind, willing to share the oil at any moment. I'm even hearing, if they can't share oil, like lighting the path. Or I'm seeing, sorry, it's a lot of visuals right now. I hope this is making sense. The lantern with a dim fire is in the front, thinking that they're walking this path alone. And there's this other lantern full of oil trailing behind them, just enough to add a little bit more light to the path, so that the other lantern in the front doesn't realize they don't realize that the lantern is behind them, rooting them on, there at any moment, and has been always helping them, even in the isolation, even when they've been walking the paths technically alone. They've always been there helping each other. I really hope that makes sense. Like, that was just something I could only describe in the visuals I was receiving. As far as a blessing, in this connection we have copper. A blessing in this connection is no one is ever too much for the other. Even though you're two different people with two different walks of lives and individual experiences, there's not judgment here. There's a true authenticity that can be reached in this connection when both parties open up. And I think you guys resemble conductors for each other in a way. Is copper a conductor? Hold on, uno momento. Google.com. Here we come. We're still recording. Good. Is copper a conductor? It didn't mention that in the guidebook, but I just thought of that. Yes, copper is a conductor. Okay, I have the vibe now. I'm hearing like, imagine both of you have a copper wire trailing between both of your hearts. It's constantly attached. And without even realizing it, and this could be as simple as casually thinking of each other throughout the day. When that happens, it's that electricity, it's that conduction feeling that happens. It helps bring each other back to life. And you know, it's interesting because we were talking about the blonde man. He has his hand over his heart, and we were talking earlier about him feeling like he could feel the death person. This is okay. Before we move on to tarot for a deeper dive, I do have some descriptor cards. These are, of course, just for funsies and extra confirmation. I'll also pull some astro dice if we don't get any zodiacs. So, who is Pile 1's person? Okay, those two wanted to come out. We have a Pisces, we have a Cancer. Who is Pile 1's person? I'll just take a couple more. We have the 9th house, higher education and traditional spiritualism. And then we have brown eyes. Okay, so now we are going to move on to tarot. I'm doing something I've seen many readers do before, but I have yet to actually do this in practice. I am using 2 tarot decks today and using one for person A and using another deck for person B. And we are going to ask the exact same questions on both sides of the aisle, and we'll see if there's any similarities. So for the blonde man, since we were talking about Jupiter, I have the Jupiter Power Tarot here, so we are going to use that for the blonde man. I'm going to pull one card for thoughts, I'm going to pull one for feelings, I'm going to pull one for possible action that they will take next, and then in the middle of both of you, I'm going to look at what is happening next in this connection. Okay, so starting out with your blonde man here, let's see. The blonde man's current thoughts of the death person, please, Spirit. We have the High Priestess reverse. The blonde man's current feelings. We have the 4 of Cups. The next action by the blonde man. Their next action. We have the 4 of Swords reversed. Okay. For the death person, I'm going to be using the Prisma Visions Tarot. I kind of have like a blue theme going on here today. All right. For the death person's current thoughts about the blonde man. We have the 4 of Swords. Okay, a little bit of We already have similar cards, or the same cards, just in a different position. The death person's current feelings for the blonde man. We have the Seven of Swords. Okay. And the death person's next action towards the blonde man. We have the Emperor. I'm going to use the Jupiter Power Tarot for what's happening next in this connection. What is happening next in this connection? Guys, the biggest smile and relief came to my face. I was a little worried there. But you're... Oh, I could cry. I'm so happy for this. What is happening next in this connection is the Fool. That is beautiful. Okay, let's talk about it. The blonde man currently thinks that the death person lives way too much in their head. They overthink way too much. And I can feel the agitation and the frustration. It's not like mean or bad, but the blonde man is definitely frustrated because it's like, have you guys seen the show Fleabag? It's kind of the same energy as when Fleabag breaks the fourth wall throughout the show. It's like the blonde man sees when this person disconnects, or they feel exactly the moments when this person disconnects. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys have known each other for a while, or it feels strange how easy you're able to read each other if you haven't known each other for a while. The blonde man notices a lot more than the death person thinks. I think the blonde man doesn't always know how to get through to the death person, and that's where their own overthinking comes through. And that's what I really love about how the blonde man views this connection. And don't worry, I love the death person too. There is no rights, no wrongs here. The blonde man has faith that the death person will pull through. I don't think the blonde man has ever given up on the death person. The blonde man, it's like the second they met you or the second they locked eyes with you, they knew there was something special. I'm sorry, I'm speaking from a different point of view. Sorry, I keep saying you and then hopping back and forth. Y'all would hate to read the stories I write. Ever since I was a little kid, I'm switching between like first to second to third person point of view or whatever it is. I was always getting in trouble for that, but it's fun, it's interesting, it's my flair. It's not correct, but it's fun. The blonde man spends all day in business, working with finances, working with money, and maybe take this literally or take this figuratively. They know what gold looks like. They know what gold feels like. They've even bitten down on gold, right? They know all the senses of what makes a diamond a diamond. And this person knows that the death person is the diamond, maybe in the rough. I don't even think the blonde man would say diamond in the rough because they don't even see the rough around the diamond. They just see the diamond. I do want to say, if outside influences have been a factor in this connection in some sort of way, as far as obstructing the closeness between you two or obstructing some sort of rapport and understanding between you two, the blonde man wants you to know that they've rethought all of that and they're pushing through now. They don't care about opinions right now. They care about what their heart wants. That's why they're touching their heart. They feel you. They have to come. You're the conductor for them, and they're the conductor for you. Sorry, it's all making sense anyway. The blonde man has struggled with trusting themselves. They've felt this connection for a long time. They've always known that the death person was special, but I don't think they were willing to admit to themselves how special they felt the connection. And they're ready to be more vulnerable soon, I want to talk about the Four of Cups. This is their feelings. The blonde man has an idea, and we kind of touched on that earlier, but they're trying to think about it very logically before they present the idea. They want to have a sound argument when they present this idea to you. And because they want everything to be figured out before they come to you, you might notice they're taking extra time right now. And it's not just you. They're taking a break from a lot of people right now. They are really only interacting with the people that they have to for work. Another interpretive message I'm getting is they're just tired of the way things are between you guys. And I think if there are any changes that the blonde man needs to make in their life to make something work better in this connection, they're willing to do that. And they're trying to actively think of ways to make this connection resemble what they feel inside. It's like they have all these feelings inside, but nowhere to express it because the connection just isn't at that level. Or you guys just don't have that rapport with each other yet to just jump into something like that. This is kind of obscure, I know, I apologize. But yeah, I just do feel like they think they're just tired. They're like, this is not how it should be. And I'm frustrated and I'm going to change it because I can't do this anymore. I need things to be different. I need things to be how I want them to be. I can't live in excuses anymore. I can't let something good go. I gotta do what I gotta do. All right. As far as their possible next action towards you, we have the Four of Swords reversed. Their next actions towards you are actually actions in their life that makes it easier for the connection. I do think this talks about work or just responsibilities that they're bogged down by, or things that kind of plague their mind and make it harder to interact or to have time set aside for this connection. They're quite literally reworking their life to make this connection easier. This is the energy of like, you're waiting on a cute boy to text you and he's out literally planting a garden of tulips so that in 3 months or so, whenever they sprout, he can give you a bouquet of freshly grown tulips. And like, you're just waiting on a text. You're like, oh, I can't wait. This person is building from the ground up. They are making a plan. Be ready. If your person is the blonde man, this person is making a plan to take action. And if you are the blonde man, and this sounds like you, do tell. Okay, little romantic, please do tell. What is happening here? What's your plan? I guess the master never reveals its secrets, but that might be the wrong expression. But you get the gist. Okay, I'm going to move on to how the death person is thinking, feeling, and taking action. How they are thinking about the blonde man. Four of Swords. This is where I think the insecurity is coming in heavy on the death person's end. The death person thinks that the blonde man doesn't... Essentially, the death person thinks that the blonde man is ready to give up. I think the death person is so exhausted at this time, and they see where they have not been able to really help this connection or add positively to this connection. And they are currently in a state of being rather hard on themselves and choosing to blame themselves, of course, than just blaming the factors of life. They are taking major responsibility in the way that this connection looks. So if you feel like, if you're the blonde man and you feel that the death person is mad at you in any way, or that this isolation energy is anything personal, it genuinely is not. The death person blames themselves wholly, even rather too harshly, in my opinion, for anything awry in this connection. I'm getting this message that sometimes the death person is just so bogged down by life that they kind of dissociate, they kind of numb out, and they can't exactly think clearly about this connection. But the art on this card, I find to be really beautiful. It's this person that looks like they've been walking in a long winter storm for all night, possibly, carrying all these swords. And then they come up to this cliff edge, and the aurora borealis is whirling and making all of these designs in the sky. And they fall to their knees and cast the swords aside and just stare at the beauty ahead of them. And that's what they think about you. It's like, in the sea of everything that doesn't make sense, in the hard walks of life, when I'm trudging through the snow, when I'm carrying my swords, you are the thing I can stop and experience and recharge with. You are the thing that gives me the sense that there is some meaning in life. There is beauty in the world. What does respite mean? Hold on. I just heard that word. I've heard it many times, and I'll remember words and then never remember what they mean. So hold on. Respite? Hold on. What does that mean? Okay. So what came up was respite care. And this is, I guess, a part of caregiver responsibilities. It says, provides temporary short-term relief for primary caregivers of children or adults with special needs, etc. It can provide in-home. Respite care provides temporary short-term relief for primary caregivers. So, it's like you're their respite. You're their, I could be butchering that word, but you are their break from all that they do. That's really sweet. Feelings, 7 of Swords. They are hiding their feelings like a mofo, bro. This person doesn't want you to know what they feel for you. And it ties back to that insecurity and feeling like, oh, like brushing off the blonde man's advances or compliments. This person is so convinced that there are no feelings reciprocated, or there's no way that the blonde man would care the same way that the death person does. So they hide their feelings. They keep things a little surface level. They deceive, not in a bad way and not in a purposeful manipulative way. They feel like if they exposed how they really feel, the blonde man would be scared. The blonde man would not like them. And they have such beautiful feelings and thoughts about you, which we've talked about, but they're scared of opening up and being truly vulnerable and what that would mean in this connection. Low-key, I want to pull, I'm just pulling from the middle of the deck to see another feelings. We have a lot of swords. We have the Knight of Swords here. This person's really, really in their head. Maybe they're a little detached from their emotional body. The other thing, if I think of Knight of Swords and Seven of Swords put together, this is like someone having communication blockages, throat chakra blockages, where they can't fully express what they mean to say. That's why I think I'm having a little bit of a hard time reading exactly their current feelings at this moment, because I feel like they don't fully understand them as well. They're kind of just happy to be along for the ride, and if feelings pop up, like they obviously have feelings, but they can't name them right now, and if they do, they're embarrassed and scared and they don't want anyone to find out. Interesting. Okay. Not embarrassed of you, not embarrassed that they have feelings for you. They're embarrassed that they could be seen having feelings, which is that, goodness gracious. I hope that makes sense. Their next actions, we have the Emperor, which traditionally is a bit more selfish energy. It is Aries energy. However, we were talking earlier about the death person approaching this era of change with the number 5. And here's the funny thing. So the Emperor card is number 4 in the tarot deck. I'm about to get really geeky. Stand by. I have a message. The Emperor card is number 4 in the entire tarot deck. However, the Emperor is ruled by Aries. What is the numerology for Aries? Number 1. What is 4 plus 1? 5. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. We have a sword stuck through the skull of a ram here. And I'm taking this very literally. This person is killing their overthinking energy. That is their next action towards you. That is what they think will best help in the connection. Getting a grasp of their mental energy and killing the parts of them that make it difficult for them to be present in the connection and to be able to show up healthily. And now let's talk about what is happening next in the connection. We have the Fool. Guys, I love to see it. The Fool is a brand spanking new beginning. Whether this means the distance is closing between you, whatever this plan is for the blonde man, maybe it's working out, or they're presenting this idea to you. Because I see the Fool. The Fool could also be new ideas. Whatever is happening here, the sun is coming out. Growth is happening in this connection. Growth is happening individually for both of these people. And the growth is happening in a way that brings you two together. In a way, and I'm hearing in a way that you were always meant to. You were always meant to come together in this way. There's something really exciting happening soon. And I don't think I'm meant to spoil it. But I do think something important is happening soon. And even, you know what, for you guys, I am going to pull extra cards. I'm going to pull some timing with the Say When Oracle. So I want to know, when is this change happening for pile 1? And then I'll let you go, I promise. This has been a long reading. We have autumn. I'll take one more just for kind of like a time frame. Ooh, too many. Let me shuffle again. Like the whole deck just fell out. Time frame, please, Spirit. Jeez. We have autumn to December, so the later half of this year. I will also pull one day card, like day of the week. Actually, 2 came out, so that's fine. We have the 16th and we have the 28th. So the 28th of an autumn month could be important. Also, December 16th, December 28th. stuff like that. All right, guys, that is all the juice I have left for this reading for you. Thank you so much for sitting here and listening to all of it. If you like this video, you could of course give it a like. You could also comment, let me know what's going on in your connection. And if this brand new beginning happenings, y'all have to let me know what happened and how things transpired. You could also subscribe here at Tarot Moods for more readings like so in the future. I love you bunches. I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful, blessed good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Bye, pile one. Hello, pile two. Thanks so much for being here with me today for your reading all about what is happening in this connection as well as their current feelings for you. / like for each other, because I'm using 2 tarot decks today. I'm going to be using one for your side, your feelings, your thoughts, etc., and another for your partner / the other person in this connection. I'm excited to get started with this spread. I do want to say I might slip up and say he here in this reading because both people in this connection are currently being represented by men. Take that as extra confirmation if there are 2 men in this connection, but it obviously does not have to be about that. So if I say he and you're like, neither of us are he's, just know that that's not what it has to be. It's just a slip up. Okay, without further ado, I want to say if you the connection I'm reading for here is not in a good and balanced space. And I want to say one person A is giving a lot more attention and focus on this connection. Or at least I'm hearing the word strife, like they're worried about this connection a lot more. They're more focused on trying to build something together or try to salvage whatever's happening here. Like, let me just talk about each person right now. For person A, they seem to be doing well financially. They seem to be focusing on abundance, or abundance is coming pretty easy or naturally to them. They could have just gotten a raise. They could have also gotten some sort of promotion, or private ventures are taking off. If they're trying to run a business, if they're selling something, things are going very well for them. They probably have a lot of savings built up. And I also think this is just someone who enjoys the rewards for their work. This isn't someone who is only focused on saving and only focused on building their material wealth. This is someone who plays hard, works hard, plays hard. They like to enjoy the fruits of their labor. This is also someone who tends to plan really fun, like outdoorsy dates. If not outdoorsy, it's some sort of activity dates. You like spending quality time together. And that's just how they show their love. I would also say they're pretty generous. Person A also is a really good shoulder to lean on. They're very emotionally intelligent, and they have a lot of friends around them that cherish them and love them. And we will be talking about friends later, because there is, I believe, a friend coming through who has been trying to send a message, at least to person A, about this connection, but that will be addressed later. I do think that person A has a really good friend group around them, or they're just someone who really cherishes the people in their life. Also, we have a little black doggy on this card, so person A could have a little black dog or a pet with black fur. And also something about enjoying food recently. I don't know if you've gone to a special dinner or if you've made something new. I don't know. I'm just feeling full and feeling like I just had a really nice, yummy dinner. So take that as you will. And I do want to say person A is the one who seems to be more worried about this connection, just to make that clear. So as far as person B, while their intentions might have started pure in this connection, and maybe their intentions are pure right now, but they've fallen off the bandwagon. I feel like they're focused on specifically work. It almost feels like they're insecure about how well you're doing in your current life prospects at this moment, that they feel like they're falling behind, and they're using that as motivation, which could be good, but I feel like it's turned a little bit too much, or maybe dipped into some toxic waters where they feel almost like they're competing with you secretly. I also feel like person B is more worried about appearances, keeping up with the Joneses. They could be doing lots of marketing right now, or networking. It almost feels, even how they're being presented to me, it's like a mask behind a mask behind a mask. What is that called? The Russian dolls? I don't know the significance there, but that's what's being shown to me at this moment. So you could feel like you never get, or I guess person A in this connection feels like they never get the true face of person B. Person B could have trauma surrounding being themselves. Maybe they were bullied a lot in school, or maybe they had an overbearing parental figure who was really controlling. So now they feel like they don't know the true them, and they don't know how to truly express themselves authentically. So they just have a lot of faces up. I do want to say, you and the people in this connection could have met through work, they could have met through friends, school, some sort of like sixth house activity, daily routine sort of deal. Because I do feel these are two very successful people. I just think that for some reason, person B is feeling like they're falling behind, or feeling like they can't compete, which person B shouldn't be competing with person A. It's a relationship here, that it's not a transaction. There are some pretty clear insecurities popping up for person B. And this card for person B does talk about a marriage of convenience. If y'all aren't married, I don't want to take that literally. Of course, if that resonates for you and you're just like sitting here watching something about someone you're divorcing, yes, take that as you will. Will I say that all connections who are watching this reading, it's going to end in divorce, or that your partner doesn't love you wholly? No, I'm not saying that. What I would like to take this as is, I'm getting like roommate energy. They are aware, and almost the reason behind this roommate energy in this connection, it's like they don't want to, they're not open emotionally for vulnerability at this time. They're more focused on the practical aspects, how you guys can help each other at this moment, and they're content and happy in that. Hence the convenience here. The connection at its current state is very convenient for person B, which might be mildly infuriating for person A, because person A is trying to develop a deeper emotional connection here, but it feels like they keep being left a little bit on the back burner. It's this coming and going energy. It's almost like, okay, for an example, and this is obviously a funny example, don't take it too seriously, but in The Good Place, after the first reboot, Eleanor is paired up with this new guy, and he was guided to tell her he's going to the gym. So the second she tries to sit down and explain her situation to him, he goes, oh, hold that thought, I gotta go to the gym. He rips his shirt off and runs to the gym. It's like that energy. I don't know if there's an important conversation that person A has been trying to start with person B. It could be around a deeper commitment. Maybe this is about moving in. Maybe this is about trying to get certain answers about a certain situation. And it's like person B is that meme of, oh, hold that thought, I gotta go to the gym. I do want to say that person B's love language tends to be more acts of service, not gifts. So I don't know if that's significant here. It's just coming through. It could, yeah, if it's coming through, I feel like it's significant. If you're wondering how best to see their love, maybe look out for those acts of service that you could maybe be dismissing. I also want to say, while person B enjoys having financial security and also works very hard, and I do want to stress, do I think person B is like weighing person A down and is not contributing to the partnership? Not necessarily. I just think to person B, they feel, not that they're not being loved properly, but they feel like the two of you in this connection have a very strong disconnect on what partnership means. For person B, it's more about making daily life easier for each other, and sustaining that safety long term. Whereas I think person A is a lot more romantic. While the security is obviously very important, they like to have a little romance here and there. They like to have things spiced up every now and then. They don't want the same boring day old expressions, and they don't want things to get too routine. But person B really thrives in this routine. Maybe there's been a fight where person A is like, I want to be taking on more lavish dates. I want you to buy things for me. And person B is sitting here like, why is that important? Because to person B, that's not love to them. To person B, love is the, I'm going to do your dishes. I'm going to keep the house clean. I'm going to show up day in, day out, over and over and over. And I'm going to be here long term. It might not be flashy, but it's stable and it's consistent. And then person A is like, yes, stability is great, but also this is a little boring, and not in the bad way. It's not like person A is seeking crazy dopamine hits through this connection in a toxic way. It's just like person B wants more in a connection than person A wants more from a love connection than I think person B needs. So it's different waters for both of you. What I will say, what is not helping here is person B's unwillingness to sit down and be honest about what they want or about what they need. It feels like the script keeps flipping, or they just like, they don't sit down and actually hear what you're saying. Oops, sorry, I just itched the mic. That's my bad. I also think person B is a little unwilling to compromise at this moment. They're giving off this energy where it's like my way or the highway. And I do think that's a bit of their ego, because I think if we took their ego out of the equation and there was a risk to losing this connection, we would see them be a lot more vulnerable. But I think their ego is telling them that they have it right, and that how do I word this? That their way of loving is fine. They just got to get through this hurdle with you, and everything will be fine. I don't really like this energy. For some of you, and obviously not all of you, if you get scared or angry, absurdly angry at this message, then it's probably not for you. Remember, these are general messages. But there could also be instances where person B kind of dismisses or demeans person A, as in like you're acting too much emotionally, like you're bringing too many emotions into this. I won't say they're sitting there saying, oh, you're crazy, but I feel like they're very dismissive of person A's feelings at this moment. I think they feel a little bit annoyed, not at the feelings itself, but the fact that they have to deal with it. which is like, okay, buddy, partnerships, there's gotta be a give and take. It makes them uncomfortable. I don't think they grew up with a lot of emotions, and I think as a relationship gets serious, emotions are just inevitable. And so person B is just kind of like, this is too much for me to compute. I'm gonna tune out, which their inability to grow and heal right now is blocking them from a lot of goodness in this connection. But I also don't know how aware person B is of all of this. It's easier as me being like a bird looking down at this situation with the help of spirit. But do I think person B is acting through awareness at this moment? Not necessarily. It's interesting. Right now, the block is happiness in this connection. I would say if there is a tendency to focus solely on the negative, that could act as a block in this connection. If there are any arguments or fights, instead, if we start using statements where we're like, oh, you did X, and this, and you're the reason, you're the blah, blah, blah. I could easily see how this just is an unproductive conversation. And if you're someone who's like, all I receive are the you're the issue messages, it becomes a question of, okay, is this a situation that's willing to reach a healthy compromise or to actually learn and grow together? Like, if you are receiving these messages over and over from someone who is unwilling to work with you or unwilling to see your side, no matter who you are in this situation, you need to know, A, that's not healthy, and B, that shouldn't be something you have to deal with long term, because that can teeter into verbal abuse territory, which we don't want that. And also a little bit of mental abuse. I could see marriage therapy or couples counseling being a healthy tool here. But do I see person B being willing to do that? Not really, unfortunately. We can see in the cards if something pops up, like what could be happening in this connection. I think it would take a lot of convincing, and it would almost have to be on the brink of breaking up forever for person B to finally be like, okay, fine, I'll swallow my pride and I'll go to this stupid counseling session. For person A, a message here I want to say is, you deserve to be happy and fulfilled in your romantic relationship connections. Love doesn't need to be difficult all the time. Love doesn't have to be a fight. Love shouldn't be this intense, crazy struggle dynamic. The love should be the easy part. Life should be the hard part. The love and the relationship itself shouldn't. And I guess that's where it would talk, like in couples counseling, about being on each other's team and that message of not using accusatory language. But something I also want to say, which I think your friend that is coming through, this could also be a spirit guide, I won't denounce that. Does this connection remind you of a past dynamic? Is this connection a test of your growth? Why do you feel so strongly about fighting for this specific connection? And I know those are very big questions, but I just think maybe journal on that. Or of course you can use the comments, because if person B is unwilling to change, which we have to grasp at some point in all connections, there is a chance that the person I love is unwilling to change. And then it becomes, are you willing to live the rest of your life with a love like this? And that's really where I think we see a lot of disconnects in relationships. We think we go into partnerships for someone that completes us perfectly, but a lot of times they come in with their own baggage and past and routines and just bad habits. And what's realistic to see change might be like 10%. Maybe it's more. Maybe the statistic is bigger than that. I am not licensed in anything, so I'm just blurting things on the internet, so you really shouldn't trust me deeply. But If you're unhappy in a connection, that is all the reason you need to exit and look for better. Like, I don't know if there's some weird dynamic playing out from the past where your self-worth or your confidence is tied to making this relationship work. And I know that's like a big thing, but I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it in friends, family, just the general public. We all go through things where we're literally just replaying dynamics and lessons through our relationships with other people. And that sometimes going through those relationships are the only way we can actually heal these wounds. I feel like that's why there's so much attachment to this situation or attachment to an outcome here for person A, because person B is really like, take it or leave it. I don't want to do this. I want to do this, and that's all I'm willing to do. And I think person A is just literally losing their noggin right now because they can't grasp why person B is behaving this way or why person B can't get on the same page with person A. And sometimes the reason is really as simple as the other person doesn't want to. And we can sit here and ponder why, but really at the end of the day, it's someone is going to do something that they want. They're not going to do something that they don't want to do. Very, very little are they going to do something that they don't want to do. Humans are, sadly, we are very much focused on our own self-pleasure. And I think instead of asking these why can't this work, why, it should be, what do I want? Why am I so attached to this specific person reacting in the way that I feel I need them to be? Why do I feel so strongly that this person has to love me? Because if we look a little deeper under the surface, it might be something with our parents where it's like, I was a parentified child, and if I could just make mom or dad happy, then I would receive the love I need. And so in this dynamic, it's like you're putting in all this extra work, you're being this romantic in hopes that person B will be able to give the same back to you. But person B doesn't love like that, and it doesn't seem like they're too willing to change. And it's replaying this similar dynamic. I don't know. I do feel like there needs to be a little bit of an independent journey here. Not calling person A dependent or codependent, but I do think person A, for some reason, has an ego attachment to this specific relationship working out when I don't think if the ego was removed that this would be a desirable situation. And I do believe there is a friend that has been trying to help you see the light of day or to see the truth about this connection. I don't think your friend is too supportive of this connection, to put it politely. But I think no matter how maybe annoyed this friend is that you're dealing with this situation, no matter how much of their advice you might have ignored, this friend wants you to know, like, I'm there 10 toes down for you, baby. Like, you call me, you need me, you're ready to let things go, I'm there. If you go back over and over, I'm there. But they're like, I just want to see you thrive. I want to see you be loved the way you deserve. And if we have to do this 50 times over for you to learn whatever lesson is happening here, or for you to see how amazing you are, that you don't need this person, then so be it. You have a really good friend. But okay, we're about 30 minutes in yappingfest.com. We are going to whip out the tarot. For you guys, because I filmed pile 1 like weeks ago and just haven't started on this reading till now. I didn't feel inspired till now. So I can't remember what decks I used for pile one. But for you, I am using the Fenestra Tarot. Fenestra Tarot will represent person A, and the generic Rider-Waite Smith deck will be used for person B. So I'm just going to do some shuffling, and I will see you with your reading. All right, Spirit. Can I get person A's current feelings for person B? Yeah, we have the Five of Wands. Person A's current thoughts about the connection. We have the Four of Wands reversed, or I'm sorry, the Six of Wands reversed. And person A's next actions towards this connection. That fell on the floor, of course. Everything always falls on the floor. In my readings, we have the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune upright. Okay, I'd love to see that. Okay, what about person B's current feelings for person A? We have the Magician reversed. Person B's current thoughts about the connection, Spirit. Oops. We have, okay, interesting. We have the Six of Wands upright this time. So yours, if person A's is reverse, person B is upright. And what is person B's next actions in this connection? We have the Ten of Wands. Okay. We have two tens too, so synchronicity there. The Wheel of Fortune is card 10 in the Major Arcana, and we have the Ten of Wands. I also forgot I have been using these identifier cards that I made when I first started tarot, just for this reading, just for funsies. So before I start reading for extra confirmation, okay. We've got the zodiac sign Taurus, we have intelligent, we have Scorpio, we have Aquarius, and we have brown hair. So I know those weren't a lot, but those were just for funsies. Take them as you will. Person A feels currently in the connection like there is something meaningful worth fighting for here, which I think is why they're grasping on so tight. They're not ready to let go. They still see the potential in this connection, and they believe in this connection more importantly. However, I think this is slowly exhausting person A. I think they're being met with a lot of negative feedback. They're not reaching the breakthroughs that they really want, and I think they're also scared of everyone's differing opinions here. They feel unheard of. They feel this could also be them battling all the different masks that they feel they receive from person B. They feel like they never know who they're going to fight with that day, or they never know how person B is going to respond to their concerns. Person B feels they feel a little depleted. They feel like the magic is gone. I think they feel like they're in the thick of it right now with you in this connection. They also feel like they don't know what to do. In their perspective, they're like, I've done everything. I don't know what else I can do. It's like, it's not in my court anymore. I have no control. Something outside of me is going to have to make this work because it's not on me. They're definitely like, not me. I'm avoiding this. I don't want to deal with this. I don't know what's happening here. I've used every play in my playbook and nothing's working. Which is really frustrating energy because that adds to the lack of self-awareness on person B's part. Where if only they just looked deeper or actually listened to person A, I think they wouldn't be in this situation right now, but whatever. I'm just a tarot reader. It's interesting, like person A is on the verge of wanting to break up or wanting to end it all. They're tired of fighting. They're exhausted. They feel like they can't win. That's the other thing, like, and maybe that's why on person B's side, we have the same card upright. Person B is more focused on winning, and that goes back to their ego. And person A is like, I don't want to fight anymore. This isn't about winning or losing. We were supposed to be on the same team, and I don't see this going anywhere. And person B is seeing this reluctance or this slow release happening on person A's side, because I do see person A slowly not giving up. That's not the right way to say this, but slowly releasing this connection and the love they have for it. Person B is interpreting that as, yay, I won. They're calming down. They're following my view. Like, they really aren't seeing what's happening. And this just reminds me, on social media, that trend where they're like, the divorce came out of nowhere, and it's like this dad was playing video games for like 10 hours every single day while the mom cooked, cleaned, took care of the kids, etc. Like, and then the dad will be like, the divorce came out of nowhere. I had no idea she was unhappy. And it's like, how many times did you tell her you'll take out the trash, and then every single night by 9 o'clock the trash was still in the garbage bin? Person B is feeling good right now. They could be receiving good news here shortly about some sort of business prospect or something that makes them be on high energy here soon. But person A is just slowly depleting in this connection. And that there is a warning, person A. Be sure you're not losing yourself in this connection. Be sure you're not backing down from this just because you want to make things work, because it's really not worth it. Life is meant to be lived, and you shouldn't have to deal with someone whose ego rules their life decisions. You deserve a partnership of love and contentment. I think it's interesting that for the next actions for both of you, we have 2 10s. 10 is the number of completion, but it's also the number of beginnings. For person A, their 10 is the Wheel of Fortune. This is breaking or starting a new cycle. This is turning a new leaf, finding success elsewhere. It's interesting, the actual person on this card is looking to the left, and on person B's side, this person, the 10 of Wands, is walking to the right. So I could see this as a split or a breakup or a pause in the relationship, or I could see this as a serious conversation of person A sitting person B down and saying, this is what you want, this is what I want, and if we don't compromise, this is my date, I am leaving. If we don't get therapy right now, I am leaving. And that might act as a shocker. I feel like the next move for person B, at least, is this losing the plot energy, not understanding what's happening, not understanding why this sudden change, feeling so overprotective of their life or of what they want their life to look like and how they want to show up in relationships, that they're unwilling to compromise, and then that causes even more strife, because the person B, the reality here, minus the ego, they don't want to lose person A. They really do love person A, but their ego and their pride and their control is insane. And so yeah, I don't know if they're gonna get their ish together for you, person A, if you are person A, because it looks like their next action is kind of living in their misery, living in their strife, and feeling responsible, like they have to do it this way. They're not seeing a different way out, and it's really just from their own making. They've hoarded too much, or they've been too controlling of too much, so they kind of made their bed and they're laying in it. But I see you, or if you are person A, I see person A coming out on top. I see person A being ready to wipe the slate clean and being ready to start anew. While it might be hard detaching, I think you have everything you need to let go of this or to move on to something brighter and better for you. But okay, pile 2, that is all I have for you here today. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, of course, feel free to give me a like. You could also comment. That helps support my channel and spread it to those who need it. Also, I would love to have you join us here at Tarot Moods for more readings like so in the future. And yeah, also personal readings are open, y'all. I have more on that in the description right before the timestamps, so feel free to check that out. If you would like a personal reading with me, we can figure out the details. That's all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed. Bye, Pile 2. Hello, Pile 3. Thanks so much for being here with me today for your reading all about what is happening in this connection, what is everyone's thoughts, feelings, and next actions. We're going to try and cover it all, so just stick around if that's the type of reading you're here for, which I hope that's the type of reading you're here for because that is the name of this video, and it would be a little weird if you were here for something else. Anyway, thanks so much for being here. I guess we should just get started. A little, just if I'm like tapping into the energy around me right now. Right as I sat down to do this video, it started raining outside and there is no rain forecasted. And then the second I pressed record, like literally down to the millisecond I pressed record to start this voice memo, the sun came out. So if I were to interpret that, if you guys are going through a little bit of a rough patch here in this connection, or you're feeling a bit of a disconnect, things feel a little weird or a little off, I want you to know it's very, very, very temporary. Like, think minutes or days temporary. It's really just a weird blip in the connection. It's nothing that you have to freak out about. The other thing I am hearing, if there is any confusion about intentions, I think you are going to be reaching a deeper understanding with each other here soon in a way that makes you feel like you're back on the same team, or if not on the same team, like you're able to formulate a better plan going forward. I honestly, based on these cards, I don't sense that this connection is in a terrible, terrible spot. I do sense a little bit of anxiety, like I'm feeling some tightness in my chest right now. Also, one of you could be sick right now, so just putting that out there for extra confirmation. Doesn't have to be. It just feels like there's something you want to say to each other, or things you want to discuss, but there either hasn't been the right time, or one or both of you are kind of dancing around the topic, not really wanting to be the first one to bring it up, which makes me believe that there is some mirroring in this connection. So there's a pretty high chance that if one of you is feeling something, the other is probably feeling something very similar or exactly what you're feeling. I also want to say, and we'll talk more individual, if your partner seems a little distracted right now, it's not because they don't want to put attention on you. It feels like either something in their work or even children, if they have children, something is taking the majority of their attention right now, and it's not their intention to make you feel a little left out. They're just really focused on something else. I feel like the person who is focused on something else right now outside of this connection might have attention span issues. Like, I don't know why that's specifically coming up, but they live more in the present moment. So unless someone like you or someone important to them is right in front of them, they kind of not forget it exists, but what's the proper way I want to say this? One of the people in this connection gets so locked in on whatever they're doing, whatever's currently in front of them. And I think this is just something about their personality that needs to come through, because I think it's been easy for people in their life to misinterpret it. This person is just hyper-focused on whatever is in front of them. So if they're hanging out with you, they're hyper-focused on you. They barely touch their phone. The outside world does not exist. But when they're at work or school or other responsibilities, other connections, it's the same energy. There's something about this person doesn't necessarily do like quote unquote favorites in the way that I guess society would name it, meaning that they try to give their full attention to everyone. Well, not everyone. See, I'm having a hard time explaining this, and maybe this is something that a person in this connection wants to get through. Their brain is a little different. They're a little unorthodox. They are never the type of person to intend to leave someone out, or to intend to make someone feel like they're not important. But right now, I feel like there's something outside of the connection that's really bringing them joy. This is not a person. This is either a hobby or a passion, a skill that they're developing. This could be school as well, or even something in their work life. There's something outside of this connection that really has their focus right now. And their higher self is trying to come through and say, this should not be taken personally. I love you. I'm here for you always at the drop of a hat if you ever need anything. And of course, I think this person, whichever side this is, which I think it's more on person B's side, which we'll talk about, this person wants you to know if you're ever craving attention or feeling a little left out, please let them know how you feel, because that they don't want to make you feel that way. I just think they get so locked in on something that they forget the outside world exists, and it's not anything malicious. They just are trying to bring that to the forefront of your awareness that it isn't personal, but they wouldn't want you to feel bad about them being like this. I'm going to stop over-explaining. I feel like I'm over-explaining. Let's talk about person A for right now. Person A is someone who is very down to earth. We have this person gardening. Also, something I want to say, both of these cards are represented by two women. Both person A and person B's cards are women. So take that as extra confirmation if you are in a sapphic relationship. However, that does not have to be for everyone. That's just for extra confirmation. Another message I could get from this is like you are nurturing each other's feminine energy. This connection could be in a very like feminine spot right now. Person A is someone who is really down to earth. Person A doesn't really let their emotions get the better of them. Person A is overall really good at maintaining a level head. And really, I would be scared if I were to see person A get angry, because I don't think that's an emotion that they really experience often. And if person A is pushed to that point, it's like someone really effed up. Like person A is the type of person whose love language is consistency through not only action, but through their positive outlook and their grounded persona. And I do want to say grounded persona, because while I think person A is very good at being stable, or at least putting on a front of being stable, which I don't necessarily think it's a front. I think they are very stable. Person A is still very human and experiences a world of human emotions. And I think recently for person A, it feels like something's missing. Either something's missing in this connection or something's missing in their personal life. This woman on this card is looking at a flower that's fallen on the ground, and she looks a little solemn, but she's not bending down to fix it. Person A is experiencing a moment in time in their life where they are observing a lot around them, and they're not necessarily jumping to fix things right now. It feels very cerebral. This person could be overthinking a lot at this time, or trying to understand more of what makes them happy. Person A is very responsible, very reliable, very kind, very generous. But I think they struggle to give back to themselves sometimes. they may feel this responsibility to take care of everyone around them. And I won't say that that drains them. I actually think it can sometimes give them energy to be the quote-unquote savior. Well, not savior as in a complex, but just person A likes being there for others and enjoys spreading kindness. But it's like they've been feeling off for a while, not necessarily about this connection. This is more personal. Like, they've been feeling off. Things have just been feeling a little weird for them. They're in this transitionary energy, but they don't know necessarily what they're transitioning to. They don't know what they need at this moment. It's like they're longing for something more, but they really don't know what exactly that more is. I think person A is very comfortable in their cerebral mind, which is why we see them analyzing this flower or analyzing these feelings instead of feeling them. I think hanging out with friends or making more friends would be good for person A. Something or someone to kind of get them out of this funk, or to remind them of who they are outside of helping others. I also think person A could benefit from a new hobby, because another interpretation I could get from just the imagery on this card, it looks like this woman might even be bored of gardening at this point, tired of the same old, same old. So maybe the solution for person A is to try something new and to light a fire inside. Because I do feel, while person A is a very passionate person, and they are very passionate about person B, that passion feels a little unreachable right now because they need to find it again. Person B is a ball of joy. I think things are going pretty well for person B. Person B, really, if you sat down and talked to them, they would say, I have nothing to complain about. Things are great. I haven't been this happy in a while. I think they're interested in learning and growing, and this could just be the season of their life that they're in. They're just in a really positive season where things seem to be working out for them. I also do think that person B is busy right now. Also, person B could be experiencing some sort of praise happening soon. If not praise, something meaningful to them is happening. It's a surprise. It's a surprise from the universe, or someone in their life is surprising them with something. Maybe person A is surprising them with something. Whatever it is, I feel like they feel it. They feel that good things are around the corner. This person has a jump in their step. Is that the saying? A kick in their step? They're just having a really good time being alive. Things are working out for them, and even more goodness is coming to them. And I do think person B plans on sharing that goodness with person A. I think person B notices things have been off for person B, but they're doing a really good job of not taking things personally. Person B is very tapped into their intuition at this moment, and they're like, I recognize that you're going through something right now, and I'm confident enough to know that if it's something to do with me, we would sit down and have a discussion about it. So they're trusting person A to figure out what they need in time. And person B wants person A to know that if there's anything they can do to make things better, or anything they can do to help person A find a passion, or like, I don't know if there's something y'all could study together, or if there's something that you're both or one of you is interested in and person A has kind of taken a little bit of an interest in. I always think it's good to have hobbies outside of a relationship, but who knows? Maybe there is a need to develop or do something together here. Increasing that quality time. Let's talk about what is happening in this connection. Oh wow, do you hear that? There was like a motorcycle or something going past. Also, I'm so sorry if you hear these birds outside my window going off. They are definitely letting us know what they think today. So, hope that's not annoying. Can't do nothing about it. There are a lot of changes happening quickly in this connection. A lot of things that need to be discussed, a lot of logistics. And with this full moon in Taurus, what this is asking is, well, the card itself says your dreams need a practical plan. I think whatever stage this relationship is at, it has reached a point where it's like, okay, things are getting a lot more serious, or if not serious, we need to talk about the logistics here. This reminds me of like best friends who always growing up were like, okay, we're gonna move in together when we turn 18, and now y'all are about to turn 18, and it's like, okay, we've had these dreams our whole life. How do we make this happen? Like, we actually have to talk about money, and we have to talk about boundaries, and we have to talk about where and what we both like, and you know, it's getting a lot more serious. Taurus is quite stubborn. I could interpret this as both people are on the same page or desire the same thing and are unwilling to compromise with the outside world. They are focused and dead set on making what it is they want happen, which is great energy. But Taurus is not necessarily known for being the hardest workforce or workhorse in the flock. Bad analogies, that didn't make sense. I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down. Like Taurus, I'm not gonna sit here and call a Taurus lazy. I won't. I think Taurus knows what to put their energy towards. And I think there might be some lackadaisy energy happening in this connection where it's like, okay, we talk about everything we want to do. We talk about all these things, but when do we actually get around to doing it? Have things gotten a little monotonous here? Because I could also see this as we talk about going on these dates, or we talk about starting this new project together, but does it actually ever happen? And that's not me. I don't want to push this message of like the two partnerships aren't trying or aren't on the same page. I see it as you guys have the same desires, the same wants, but now it's time to put a practical plan behind that to make things actually ground and manifest. And then also there's this message of, okay, once you have the plan laid out behind these dreams, then comes the discipline of maintaining that plan and sticking to the plan. The block in this connection, we have death. And this immediately lets me know that one or both of you are holding on tightly to a past paradigm or a past way of being that can't come with you into this next phase of the relationship. And this doesn't have to mean like you're holding on to a person. By no means do I really see that here. But this could simply be someone is realizing, oh, my single life is over. Like, I'm getting married to this person. I will never be single or dating again. And sometimes that's a big chapter of your life to let go of. Another thing, it could be like, in order to reach this goal in this connection together, we both will have to make sacrifices. And maybe those sacrifices aren't pleasant. Like, maybe it means one of you is cutting out certain spending habits that are not conducive to your savings. Maybe this goal that you both have requires a certain amount of monetary finances, monetary resources. I don't see this as someone being like, halt, I will not, like stubbornly saying, no, I am unwilling to compromise. Death is a natural process. Death is inevitable. Death happens whether we like it or not. And I think this connection is more important and stronger than any sort of connection to the past or connection to bad habits. I just do see a little bit of resistance, which could make it slower, which could add some frustration here in this connection. But I do see this transition happening swiftly, soundly, and peacefully, and put to rest for the rest of eternity, if I take death very literally. Like, this isn't something that you can just switch back to. The blessing in this connection is really sweet. You guys are each other's dream. You fulfill each other's dream. When either of you thought of who you wanted in your life or who you wanted to grow a life with, each of you hold the exact same wishes that each other was dreaming of. And I think what's really cool about this connection, while, like we talked about earlier, there might be a tiny, tiny bit of disconnect right now, at the core of this connection is intense gratitude and intense love. I think both people add to the connection in their own unique ways, and both parties have been really good about recognizing each other's strengths and differences and praising each other for them and loving and accepting each other as they are. Okay, I'm gonna switch to tarot because I'm running a little low on juicy juice. So let's see. Oh, actually, before I do that, we will pull some identifier cards. I made these years upon years ago, so they're not anything special. They're just for extra confirmation. So, for pile 3, please, Spirit. Okay, that's a lot. We've got the 5th house of dating. We've got the 4th house of home and family, so there could be some synastry there. We have Libra. We have Aries. We have the 7th house of relationships. Oh, something is hiding under. We have a lot of houses, so there could be a lot of synastry here. We also have brown hair. This is kind of crazy. This is like my chart. If you're reading about me, babe, I love you. But so that's really funny. I have brown hair. I also have Libra in the 7th house. My first house is in Aries. That's funny. So we have brown hair, Libra, Aries, 7th house, 1st house, 4th house, and 5th house. So that's funny. That is me. That is my chart. Take that as extra confirmation. Leave what doesn't resonate. You could also have Libra in the 1st house. I know I'm thinking of a specific friend. If you're reading this or if you're watching this video, you also have Aries in the 7th house. Our charts are flipped. Love you, my Sagittarius queen. Okay. Without further ado, let's whip out the tarot. I'm using 2 tarot decks today, which has been fun. We've been seeing a lot of synchronicities. I've never actually done this where I use 2 tarot decks, and I think I'm going to start using it more in relationship connections because it's been a little helpful with just deciphering the energy and seeing who's on the same page about what. So for person A, can we please see person A's current feelings? We have the 7 of coins reversed. Person A's current thoughts. We have the 10 of coins reversed. And person A's next action in this connection. Ooh, we have the 3 of swords. What the frick? Okay. Actually, I don't see this as bad. I think I'm getting the message. Let me pull person B's card and we will see what else we've got. What are person B's current feelings? 8 of Cups reversed. Person B's current thoughts. Ooh, that fell on the floor. You have the Knight of Pentacles upright. And person B's next actions. You have the Hanged Man. Okay. Person A right now is struggling with some sort of insecurity of being enough. They are, sorry, did I say person B? I meant person A. I'm sorry. There seems to be some insecurity around the stability of this connection. And I feel like person A is putting a lot of weight on their shoulders to be the sole person responsible for making a relationship work. I would like to guess, person A has had a lot of connections in the past where they've been made to feel like they're not giving enough or not doing enough, which I want to say is not true. They've been made to feel like the only way to make a relationship work is if they are constantly taking actions, constantly wowing someone. There's this fear that person A is not enough in this connection to keep person B with them long term. I don't know if there's some sort of insecurity for person A around being boring or like, I don't know. It seems like person A, because of this insecurity, they almost want to like push for this intimacy. They want to push for closeness really quickly. And it's like, at least for person B is a lot more grounded and stable in relationships and love. They're like, that intensity will develop naturally. We don't have to push for anything right now. We don't have to we don't have to push for closeness immediately. And I think it is a little frustrating to person A because this is their first relationship connection that is probably a little bit more healthy. And so person A is currently working through a lot of their past baggage in relationships because in past relationships, everything was on their shoulders. And they were the only reason that connections were working because they were the only one putting effort in. And I think person B is okay with taking things slower. Person B is okay with going with the flow. And that kind of rattles person A's perception. They're like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? Jennifer Lawrence meme right now. What do you mean? It really could be causing a little bit of anxiety for person A, and I would say if you're person A and you're resonating with this message, closeness and security in relationships is not built in a specific time frame. It's not built by how much you know about another person. It's not built through grand acts of service or grand displays of affection. It really is built through the consistency to be there for each other and the trust that develops through consistency, through long term. And I think if there are instances where person B seems a little less receptive in this connection or less receptive to these acts of love, it's because person B is like, wow, that's great, but this is your 18th act of love today, and it feels a little inauthentic. It feels like you're forcing yourself to do this from anxiety, not from a place of genuine love. And that might be a lot to swallow or to digest. Because person B is quite happy in this connection. They really are. It just seems like person A feels like at any moment this connection could go haywire. At any moment, they could make the wrong move. They're very much walking on eggshells when they don't have to. They're telling stories in their mind about the expectations in this connection without actually talking to person B about expectations. When we are looking at their thoughts, we have the Ten of Pentacles reversed. And I don't see this as like they think the connection is not worth long term. I see this as more of their anxiety about what they're able to provide long term. If this could make it long term, there's There's a lot of overthinking energy. Please if you're person A, please take a deep breath for me. Oh my goodness. Person A is constantly going back and forth between, yes, this connection is my soulmate, this is going to be long-term perfect forever, and then it's like one little insecurity pops up and it completely derails their positive energy. This could be as simple as person B gets distracted as person B does, and then person A takes that personally, and they're just like, nope, person B hates me. Person B is not actually in it for me. And it just spirals. It really does spiral. And person B is like, whoa, what is happening right now? It's like this whiplash energy. And this anxiety doesn't come from nowhere. I want to reassure you, if you are person A, you shouldn't have to feel bad about these emotions or these anxieties. However, they are yours to regulate. And I think the warning here is like, be careful the stories you tell yourself. Your thoughts, your words are powerful, and it's almost like, be wary of self-fulfilling prophecies. Because I could easily see this as person A, instead of communicating through these emotions because they're scared of the what ifs surrounding what a conversation like this would entail, they bottle it up, they hold it all inside, they don't talk to anyone, and then they just explode one day, and they make a brash decision, or they get angry, and all this built up like anxiety just boils into a mountain, when it really is, it really at the end of the day is a molehill in this connection. I do see person A's next actions as something positive. We have the Three of Swords, which typically not a very great card, a very painful card. But I see this as person A being willing to address these insecurities and their pain head on. Person A could be reaching out to someone to talk to, because something I think about, we can go on this crazy healing journey alone and say, oh yeah, we're fully healed. And then the second you get in a relationship, it feels like you're 6 years old again, and you're scared and you don't know what's happening. And I feel like a little bit of that is going on. Some insecurities from the past are popping up. And I think it would be best to talk to a professional about these thoughts. I do see person A's next actions as healing from these pains. It's not going to be an instantaneous journey. It's not going to be an instant success. But I do think long term, it will have better results than just sitting and mellowing in this and trying to deal with it alone. These swords weren't placed in your heart by person B. And I think that's what we have to remember sometimes in relationships. It's two people against the problem. It's two people against the insecurity. It's the team against life. And I think I'm being shown this analogy where person B is trying to help you remove the swords from your heart, but person A might misinterpret that as person B stabbing their heart. Because it looks the same in a snapshot. In a snapshot, it looks like person B could either be removing it or placing it. But in reality, person B is trying to help heal you and remove those insecurities, remove those blocks from your heart. When's the last time you cried, person A? If you're person A, I think you need like a good cry. I think you need to cry about past relationships. I think you need to cry about your parents. I think you need to cry about the pain you've experienced just to get it out. Another thing, if I go back to the death card earlier, as a block in this connection, it's like, you know how we were talking about an unwillingness to let go of an old paradigm? It's like person A is unwilling or resisting letting go of this old paradigm of hurt and pain and untrustworthiness of other people and all the responsibility being on their shoulders. They're resisting that change. It is happening whether they like it or not, but there's a little bit of resistance here. Okay, let's talk about person B. Person B's feelings with the Eight of Cups reversed. Person B currently feels like they need to address some of the unhealthy things in this relationship, but they don't know how to go about doing it without spooking or scaring or causing harm to person A. Because I think they recognize that person A isn't necessarily in the mindset to receive what they have without a lens of insecurity. And so they're kind of picking and choosing their battles. They don't want to walk away from this connection, but going back to this self-fulfilling prophecy, they just feel like unless person A gets a hold of their insecurities, like it's not going to work long term, and it could even turn toxic. There is some fear, and I think there's belief in person B's heart that this this connection can work out long term, but there's hesitancy because I feel like they haven't been able to experience person A without these fears that person A is holding on to. And so they're like, who is person A outside of these fears and these insecurities? Are we even compatible when person A isn't doing everything from a base of fear and scarcity mindset? And I think their thoughts right now are like, I just need to be consistent. I just need to slowly show them over time, because we have the Knight of Pentacles, and the Knight of Pentacles is a very slow, consistent, practical, moving person. They're not super romantic. They're not showboaty. They're not gonna show up to your door with flowers and a boombox. What they will do is cook you dinner. What they will do is build you a flower bed over time, slowly. And there's the rain. If you can hear it, there's the rain. The rain has healing energy. Do y'all remember that from like lockdown COVID? The rain has healing energy. They think the most practical thing to do right now is just to take things slow and be consistent, which is mildly infuriating to person A, but it's not toxic. I would actually say that person B is doing the best that they can right now. And from a tarot therapeutic lens, I think person B is doing a pretty good job, given the circumstances. I think their next actions are to stay in a bit of a self-reflective mode. They're not trying to make a decision in haste. They want to talk things through. They want to give chances. I think it's important for you to know they haven't made up their mind about something yet. They need more clarity. They need more time. They need to see things over the course of time and how things progress. And they're willing to be patient and see where things go. Okay, pile 3. That is all I have for you here today. If you enjoyed this reading, of course, feel free to give me a like. Also, feel free to comment and let me know what's happening in this situation, in this connection, what resonated, what didn't. You can also join us here at Tarot Moods for more readings like so in the future. But that's all I have for you here today. Much love sent your way, and bye-bye.